When I think about mature motorcycle riders, I tend to think about this guy who's been around the block a bunch. He's an experienced motorcyclist, and for whatever reason, it seems like they all follow a trend of the types of bikes that they own. In today's video, I'm going to tell you top 10 motorcycles that mature or experienced motorcyclists are most susceptible to own in their garage. Let's rip off the Band-Aid really quick. The first one we're talking about today is the Suzuki DR650. Oh my God. I don't know what is up with people who own DR650s, but they're always like 53 years old, they've had 56 different dual sports, and they will tell you on their grave, they'll swear to God wherever they go in this holy earth that the DR650 is the greatest motorcycle ever made. I don't know why. It's like a perfectly fine motorcycle, but they have come to the conclusion that the DR650 is the ultimate. But I'll tell you this, it's because they can't afford a KTM Enduro 690 or a really clean Yamaha FJR1300, which we all know are both better bikes than the DR650. But DR650 is the first bike I think of when I think of the mature or experienced motorcyclist, for sure. So specs on this machine really quick: 644cc single-cylinder air-cooled engine, making 43 horsepower, 37 foot-pounds of torque. It has a fuel capacity of 3.4 gallons, a dry weight of 316 pounds, so you're looking at close to 350 pounds for this bad boy, and a 35-inch seat height because it is a dual sport motorcycle, and it's going to cost between $6,500 and $7,500 depending on where you're going to get it. If you're getting it used, getting it brand new, you shouldn't buy one of those brand new. Don't even know if they still make it brand new, but yeah, dude, Suzuki DR650, oh my God, mature, experienced riders all day, every day. But here's another one that I hear all the time with these mature and experienced riders. It's the Yamaha FJR1300. So I want to clown on this one a little bit because my buddy Marcus actually owns one, and he's going to watch this video and he's going to get upset at me. But I don't know why, dude. FJRs are just one of those bikes that once you've been around the block a bunch, you just settle up on this bike. And you're going to see a theme with the bikes today. It's like these kind of do-anything, go-anywhere bikes that you've just come to really appreciate for their reliability and their just gumption, right? So the FJR1300, what is it? Well, it's a 1298cc liquid-cooled inline four-cylinder making 145 horsepower and 92.5 foot-pounds of the Lord's torque. Pretty good fuel capacity at 6.6 gallons. Features a dry weight of 694 pounds, so you're talking over 700 pounds for this machine. Seat height of 32.5 inches, and the price brand new used to be between 15 and 17 grand, but to be honest, you can buy one of these like a 2013 or 2014 for like 5 grand nowadays, all day, any day. And why do very experienced or mature motorcyclists enjoy the FJR so much? Well, it's just a fantastic long-distance touring bike, no frills, no muss, no fuss, just a great motorcycle for you to get into and enjoy. But for whatever reason, men between ages 45 to 60 will tell you about their FJR1300 when you get cornered at a party. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm going to these parties where these old men are cornering me, telling me about their FJRs, but it happens to me at least 6 times a week. That is not a over-exaggeration. Okay, the next one is kind of like obvious if you've been around the block here at Yammie Noob a little bit, but I really do think that the Harley-Davidson Road King is a mature and experienced motorcyclist bike. The biggest reason for that is because it's so freaking expensive, okay? These bikes can easily cost between 18 to 25 grand, depending on stuff you do to it. It can go up to 30, 35 grand. I mean, these can get really, really expensive, and they're just kind of like the boomer motorcycle du jour, right? If you don't know what Harley-Davidson to get, and you're 48 years old and you've been making yourself some money, you're gonna go and get the top dog. The Road King is the top dog. It's the big touring bike, and of course, it's the bike that a lot of people kind of think about when they think of a Harley-Davidson. They think of a big black touring machine, and they're having the leathers and they're doing the whole thing. So that's kind of like the next mature bike on the list. But let's look over some specs. Surely $30,000 buys you a lot of motorcycle. Well, it does buy you a large volume of motorcycle, but maybe not as much in terms of specs. So features an air-cooled 103 cubic inch or 1690cc displacement V-twin with about who cares amount of horsepower and does it even matter amounts of torque. 6 gallons of fuel, dry weight of 849 pounds, so close to 900 pounds fully wet and ready to ride with a 26.4-inch seat height. It features that batwing fairing for the wind protection, and it's probably the most comfortable and powerful motorcycle that Harley-Davidson makes, and is one you will be sure to find in any mature or experienced American motorcyclist stable, no doubt about it. The next choice on my list is kind of like, I don't know, it's a bit of an esoteric choice, but stick with me. I think you'll see what I mean once I describe it a little bit. It's the Zuma Scooter. Now, a scooter is often seen as a entry-level two-wheeled option. It's seen as the cheapo option, the kind of bop around, do anything sort of vehicle. But I really have seen a trend where very experienced and mature motorcycle riders often have a two-stroke scooter in their setup. I don't know why that is. I think it's because after you've been riding for so many years, you just want something small and goofy to tool around on. So the Zuma features a 125cc four-stroke engine. It's not a two-stroke, but you can find some two-stroke Zumas, I think, from the past. Anyways, this is kind of a catch-all term for any old two-stroke scooter, basically. Maybe even a Vespa, if you can find one. Automatic transmission, 30.7-inch seat height with a fuel capacity of 1.45 gallons and a wet weight of 298 pounds. This is a classic, good scooter that any mature and experienced rider is happy to own in their stable. We would be remiss to make a list about mature and experienced bikes and not discuss the Honda Goldwing. Now, this is your bread and butter, classic mature and experienced motorcyclist ride. This is the kind of guy that's been riding for 25 years. He's gonna comment on your YouTube video telling you how you don't know anything about riding, and he's ridden 100 million bajillion road miles, so he knows everything there is to know, although he hasn't spent any meaningful time practicing his skills or doing anything of the sort. But he's ridden a lot of road miles, so he knows better than you. He knows how to fix a flat tire, that's for sure, and he probably has a knife strapped to his leg. Don't know why, but he just does. We're just gonna put that out there, add that to this character of the Goldwing man. So, Goldwing, 1833cc liquid-cooled flat 6 engine, making 126 horsepower, 127 foot-pounds of torque, 6.6 gallons of fuel, so you can go way long distance on this thing. It's got a reverse gear, by the way, that's pretty sweet. Dry weight of 901 pounds, so you're looking at close to 1,000 pounds for the Goldwing. Yes, 1,000 pounds. So that means with your average Goldwing rider, it's probably cooking about 1,500 to 1,600 pounds going down the road. Sorry, had to get that in there, it's just funny. Seat height of 29.3 inches, and it's just the most advanced thing on two wheels, pretty much. The Goldwing needs no introduction, and I really do believe that many mature and experienced motorcycle riders will end up with a Goldwing. It's like, the Goldwing is sort of like, I don't know, it's kind of like the scooter in the same way of like, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. If you ride for long enough and you've been putting on miles for 20, 30 years, eventually, at some point, you're gonna own a Goldwing. I don't know why that is. I think it's because it is the gold standard, no pun intended. But yeah, they're just like this amazing, good, quality motorcycle that a lot of guys just wanna go and drop stupid amounts of money on. So that's why it ends up on the list. Okay, the next one is similar to the Yamaha FJR1300, and you guys in the comments are probably gonna know exactly what I'm talking about, this type of dude. It's the Kawasaki Ninja 1000. Okay, this is for the mature, experienced rider who used to be a sport bike squid. They used to love naked bikes, super sports, super bikes, track days, all that great stuff. And they did it for like 10 to 15 years. And they're like, dude, I'm kind of ready to give this up. Like, I've done it enough. I've experienced everything I need to experience. But the call of the inline 4 scream just beckons to them like a siren out at sea. They cannot think of anything else but the clarion call of an inline 4 screaming at 4 a.m. in your local neighborhood. So they go and they buy a Ninja 1000. They say, hey, look, it's comfortable, it's practical, it's gonna do everything I need it to do, and yet it's still sporty enough to where I can truly enjoy it. A close second for this category too would be something like the Gixxis 1000 from Suzuki, but the Ninja 1000 really is one that's been around for a long time, and you know these guys are not gonna buy a brand new bike. So, specs on this machine. It features a 1043cc liquid-cooled inline 4, making 142 horsepower and 76 foot-pounds of torque. It features a fuel capacity of 4.5 gallons, so pretty good range. Dry weight of 498 pounds, so a little over 530 wet probably, and a seat height of 32 inches. It's got plenty of tech, plenty of features. It's been recently updated, and it's the type of bike where I could easily see a guy that's been riding for a long, long time having this in the stable and being like, yep, this is my finisher bike. I need nothing else. It's sporty enough. It's got the inline 4, makes a lot of power. Great, love it, happy with it. Yeah, I could definitely see that. Now guys, if you like these sort of conversations we're having here on the channel, you like goofing around about motorcycles, join me over on YammieNoob.co. The link is in the description below. You can join our Discord server, get access to the exclusive behind-the-scenes content, all kinds of great stuff. You're not going to want to miss that, and you'll get entered to win one of our fantastic giveaway motorcycles. Yes, we have 4 different giveaway motorcycles going on at any given time, so hit that link down below to YammieNoob.co and check it out. Next up is the kind of nega cousin to the Goldwing. It's the BMW K1600. This is for the experienced rider who really needs a BMW badge on their motorcycle. And we have another one on the list today that's also kind of like that, but it's its own separate beast, so be sure to stick around for that one at the end. But the K1600 is really like when you wanted a Goldwing, but you're like, it's not pretentious enough. I really need people to know that I bought a BMW. I'm better than you. I have more money than you. I'm going to get a BMW, blah, blah, blah. So that's why they end up with one. So BMW K1600 inline 6-cylinder, 1649 cc's, 160 horsepower. That's kind of a lot for a dad bike. 129 foot-pounds of torque, 6.3 gallons of fuel, dry weight of 831 pounds, and a seat height of 32.3 inches. So you can think of this as the BMW Goldwing. There's really not that much to write home about it. It's a long-distance touring bike that's basically designed to be a 48-year-old's finisher motorcycle. So lots to say about the Goldwing in that context versus the K1600, but that could be a whole video unto itself. Okay, if the BMW badge wasn't enough and you truly want to go full biscotti, there's always the Ducati Multistrada. Now, the Multistrada is featured in many different trims, but I really think that the kind of enduro, apex, stupid version of it is the one that most kind of mature and experienced riders will get. They've worked hard in their life, they want a Ducati, but they don't really want their back and their chiropractor bills to really stack up. So what they do is they go and get a Multistrada. Totally fair, totally understand it. The new V4 is a nice machine, although I think it's doing a little bit too much. If you guys have seen my review of the Multistrada, you'll know that I feel that it's a motorcycle that's trying to be too many things all at once. But all that being said, the new Multistrada features that V4 that they've been piloting out. I think it makes over 160 horsepower, which is pretty amazing. Great valve service intervals as well. Really, really good features on the Multistrada, and I think that it's just the type of bike where if you want the Ducati badge, you want something that is just, you know, the full banana. You don't want to get something cool like a Scrambler. You want the full banana dad bike, except no substitutes. It's the Multistrada or bust. All right, folks, last 2 bikes on the list today, and they could not be more diametrically opposed. And I think some of you are going to get a little angry at me for including this last one on the list. But honestly, if you really think about it, even Suzuki admitted this, that the Hayabusa is a mature and experienced motorcycle rider's bike to own. And why is that? Well, it's because the Suzuki Hayabusa now is a type of bike where guys who are in their 40s and 50s are looking at the Gen 3 and they're like, oh man, like I remember when the Gen 1 came out, I'm gonna go get the Gen 3. It's such a cool callback to like early 2000s culture. And as much as it pains me to say it, the early 2000s were 20 freaking years ago. So if you were 25 in the early 2000s, you're now edging up on 50 years old. That's crazy, but that's the way the world has gone, and it is what it is. Time is relentless and will bury you in the ground. So you can be buried in the ground along with your Hayabusa because it now is, in my opinion, a mature and experienced motorcycle to own. So features a 1340cc liquid-cooled inline 4, has great ergonomics for all-day touring, in my humble opinion, as the owner of a Gen 1 Turbo Hayabusa. A little bit different, but same story pretty much. 197 horsepower, 114 foot-pounds of torque, dry weight of 574 pounds. So you're looking at a roughly 600-pound bike pretty much. 31.9-inch seat height, and the price for a new one nowadays is over 17 grand if I remember correctly, but you should definitely buy a clean used Gen 2 Hayabusa as your finisher, mature, experienced motorcycle ride. And that's the one that I see a lot of guys getting. In the stable, they've got a clean Gen 2 that they love, they've got touring bags on it, saddle bags, all that great stuff, and they just love the thing to death. The Hayabusa kind of is in the same vein of the Ninja 1000. It's the guy that really still wants a ton of speed and power, but doesn't really want to do the whole super sport thing. So Suzuki Hayabusa, definitely on my list today of mature and experienced motorcycles. All right, folks, the last bike on the list, you could probably guess it because you can see the chapters down below, but it's the BMW R1200 GS. I know it's a little cliche, but really the GS is the pinnacle of like the mature and experienced rider's bike. You never see someone 23 years old with a fully kitted out GS. It is always a 45-year-old guy who's been riding for like 10 years, or it's a 45-year-old guy who decided to get his first motorcycle. It's one or the other, never anything in between. I've never met a BMW GS 1200 owner who is like 26 years old and it's their second bike. If you're that guy or girl, leave me a comment down below and tell me if you own a BMW GS as your second or third motorcycle and you're like under 30 years old and it's fully kitted out. I have to know, I have to meet you, and I may call you for an interview. I'm just really curious. So, BMW R1200 GS, 1170cc, 4-stroke boxer twin engine, boring as can be. I cannot stand that engine, I'm just gonna be completely honest. Makes about 125 horsepower, 92 foot-pounds of torque. Fuel capacity, it really depends. It can be more or less than 7 gallons if you get the adventure tank and all that stuff. Dry weight of 505 pounds. We're looking about 540 pounds for the wet weight. Seat height of 34.3 inches, and these can go way, way, way up in price, above 25 grand if you kit it out with enough stuff. So I think the BMW R1200 GS, it makes a great case for itself, right? Because it technically is an adventure bike, but really it's just like a BMW long-distance touring bike that is a little more standard seating than the K1600. If you don't want to do the whole long-distance, touring bike thing, you can get a GS and it will basically do the same thing, but just look a little bit different. So that today is my list of the top 10 most mature and experienced motorcycles that only the most mature and experienced riders own. Let me know in the comments if you have any bikes that you think should be featured on this list today of bikes that you kind of see old timers and kind of the experienced riders owning. I feel like I covered a pretty good clip today, kind of those cult classic motorcycles. But let me know down in the comments, and thanks so much for watching, guys. Catch you in the next one.